Hi Wildings, welcome back to the Wilding Tarot YouTube channel where we do intuitive tarot card readings on all things Lovers card. Because I am a Gemini midhaven and I love that Gemini Lovers card chit chats. That is what my public image is supposed to be all about, apparently, according to my birth chart. So yeah, that's what we do here. And if you've been following along for a while, you might know that I did have a few days off, I think like maybe a week or so off from posting. The whole Mercury retrograde, like going direct after we'd been in a Venus retrograde for so long was, yeah, a bit of a challenging time for me. I was definitely very anxious. I'm a Virgo rising, so Mercury is my chart ruler. Venus is one of my dominant placements. I think my dominant placements are the moon, especially. I'm a Taurus moon. My Saturn, I believe, is one of my dominant placements, and Venus might be my third. I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, Venus and Mercury going direct was just like a wild time for me. So yeah, I definitely took some time off, did some R&R. Hope you all got through it. Hope you all survived. So yeah, obviously that whole retrograde period was a big time for reflecting, especially on relationships, figuring out like kind of what went wrong in the past and like what you want in the future. So this video today is kind of very appropriate, I would say. Like I definitely woke up today being called to channel messages in regarding to what people are potentially thinking about you at the moment after all this retrograde stuff went down. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. But I'll do like a full explainer when we officially open the reading, when we're done setting up our beautiful tarot space, which it looks like we're about ready to do. So without further ado, let's get into today's reading. Okay Wildings, let's get into today's video. So as you can probably tell by the title, we're going to be asking who's been thinking about you today and potentially what they've been thinking or feeling about you today as well. So each reading will have essentially 3 parts. We'll clarify the energies early on, especially if you kind of want that extra confirmation or yeah, just like maybe want to know if you need to be open to multiple people coming through or anything like that. We'll just clarify the energy, so we'll find out some kind of maybe astrology about this person, maybe some physical, mental kind of characteristics about them. Then we'll get into the tarot where we'll clarify exactly what the messages are around what they're thinking and feeling today, before finally doing all of our oracles and affirmations to kind of close out the reading, like kind of know what you need to really take away from the reading to move forward with. So yeah, essentially every reading will have those 3 parts. You can skip any part that doesn't feel relevant to you. So yeah, just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Know that if your intuition is sending you somewhere but the early clarification like doesn't exactly hit, like potentially that clarification is not for you, doesn't mean the reading isn't for you. But if you do listen to that and you just kind of get this vibe that maybe you've ended up in the wrong place accidentally, which is kind of like a little intuition test and is actually usually very intentional, then you can always come back to the start, have another go at picking readings and seeing how you go. So yeah, there's kind of no right or wrong way to get this reading. Whatever feels right to you, there's plenty of options for you to kind of tailor it to your specific needs based on whatever you're being internally guided towards. Yeah, we're in the age of Aquarius, so we're really dissolving outside sources as authorities, and we're really relying on the inner authority, the inner genius, the inner knowing Aquarius is light energy, it's knowing energy, it's like very, it's an intuition that doesn't need kind of external validation. Like you are 150% enough to be able to kind of know for you what's right. And essentially no one can know what's right for you aside from you. We can get little intuitions, but yeah, ultimately the real wisdom lies within. So yeah, just trusting that however it pops up in this reading today. Obviously I was supposed to go on a tangent for that because like I did not intend to go on that tangent when I opened the reading. I just was like open to kind of whatever wanted to come through for the like collective. So yeah, obviously that's something that needs to be said. But with that said, we will go ahead and choose either pile 1, 2, or 3, wherever your intuition is drawing you to today, to get that 3-part reading around what they're thinking, or who's thinking about you, sorry, and potentially what they're thinking and feeling today. Yeah, so I will leave a little kind of freeze frame for you if you want a little bit more time to decide on a pile without me distracting you with my pretty black nails. Yeah, like it has been a little bit of an anxious week. That's why I went with black when I got a manicure. That's like totally like don't need to know, but yeah, that's the vibe at the moment, which is why I've been offline a little bit less. I've only really been doing the personal readings that I scheduled, and like yeah, just like resting a lot at the moment since the whole Mercury retrograde went direct. It's just been a bit of a time, I feel like, because I'm a Virgo rising, which means Mercury is my chart ruler. So those Mercury retrogrades, they like get me. They get me so good. But yeah, anyway, like getting back on track. Selecting pile 1, 2, or 3, wherever you're intuitively being drawn. Like hopefully my kind of like sharing and babble just like helped kind of clear the mind and like hopefully made it a little bit clearer which way you're gonna go. But yeah, if you do need that little bit of extra time, I will leave a freeze frame now. So wherever you end up, either pile 1, 2, or 3, I will see you there in a moment. Pile 1. Oh, that was a little bit off center. I don't know if my Virgo rising can handle that. I'm just gonna roll with it. It is kind of getting close to sunset and I want pile 3 to have at least a little bit of light so they can see what's going on. So I'm just gonna roll with it. If you chose this beautiful moonstone, then this reading is probably for you. But yeah, we're going to start with clarifying the energies. Feel free to just skip ahead if this does not feel relevant for you. Spirit, can we please have some information about who's been thinking about pile 1 today, please? Who's been thinking about pile 1 today, please? That's a lot. Okay, pile 1, your person might be a Cancer, have a lot of placements in their 4th house, even a stellium. They might be a Libra, or have some placements in their 7th house, or your rising sign might be their 7th house. Also, they might be a Virgo rising or Gemini rising with this Mercury retrograde card. Like, I'm just getting that potentially some of them have been affected by the recent Mercury retrograde a little bit more than normal, which would probably mean they're going to be one of those 2 rising signs. This person, I would assume, you probably have some sort of history with, and potentially some unfinished business with the Destiny and Grand Cross Provoker card both coming out. Like, these two cards do come out very intentionally, usually when someone who has mirrored a lot of things to us, like aggravated a lot of things, maybe has some squares and oppositions to us in our synastry chart with them. So yeah, they've definitely pulled some stuff out of us, definitely taught us some things, or definitely at least kind of aggravated some of our own wounds, so that we can heal them, at the very least. But yeah, with this Destiny card coming out, like, this usually refers to something kind of being in divine plan and divine timing. So yeah, it seems like this is a destined connection of some kind. Like, this could be any kind of connection though. Like, all karmics are still destined connections. All soulmates are destined connections, and all twin flames are destined connections, obviously. So yeah, it could be any one of those. This also could indicate a person who's a very powerful manifester as well. And with this Grand Cross card also could indicate someone who's either maybe a little bit more challenging of a personality, or like, especially with this Mercury retrograde energy, like maybe someone who makes people think a lot in some way, intentionally or unintentionally. And we also have the fire element of desire. So this could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, or just those placements potentially. And it usually also refers to someone who's very entrepreneurial, motivated, and or like creative, has a lot of sexual desire usually, and just has a lot of kind of very, I would say, like kind of charming, charismatic kind of energy with this fire element card. So if someone's coming to mind so far, this is the person who's been thinking of you today. We will get a few more descriptors. Oh, and especially like all of these energies coming out, reinvention as well as provoker and destiny. This is probably someone from your past in some capacity. Potentially someone who also triggers childhood wounds with this Cancer 4th house energy. 4th house has a lot to do with roots and home, so it's very likely that yeah, this person, what they're actually provoking, what they're triggering is like inner child stuff. But let's get some more descriptors. If you just want a little bit more, you could resonate with some or all of these. Especially if there's like more than one person coming to mind. Hopefully this will clarify the energy. It is possible that multiple people have been thinking the same thing about you today though, so yeah, just as I mentioned in the intro, just like really using your intuition. So we have dark brown eyes, red hair or reddish toned hair. It could be dyed, could be natural, or maybe that was the color of their hair when they were born. Freckles. Whoop. Avenger. So this is this kind of Grand Cross Provoker energy. This is someone who doesn't like to see people be wronged in some way and usually wants to participate in the rectification. They want to like avenge people. Yeah, and it's probably coming from this very kind of loving place with this lover energy. Yeah, because overall they do have a really good heart. So Seeker, this is that curiosity, which I would say is kind of that Sagittarius energy coming out. Conscientious. The hair's probably short. This is like relative though, like whatever you consider short based on the kind of people you're attracted to. It might be just like shorter or just, yeah, take what resonates. We also have dark brown hair, so essentially if they don't have red hair, they'll have dark brown hair. Courageous, again, more of this fire element energy, probably more of a Leo-ish energy. Small nose. Tall. Curvy. So they're tall but like have a little something something about him. And fair skin. Kind of felt like that was going to come out. We had red hair and freckles. Like, no offense, but just usually how those things go. They're actually really accurate. Like, I feel like I sound surprised. I'm really not, but I think other people are surprised when I pull these sort of things out and they're just like super accurate. But let's get some messages about potentially what this person's been thinking about you today, and or why they've been thinking about you today, and or any feelings that maybe are behind what they've been thinking today. Got a lot of reversals. Can we clarify this Knight of Pentacles energy, please? So this person today has been regretting not putting their best foot forward with you. It's almost definitely someone that you have history with that has been thinking about you today. Maybe someone who you met when you were both a little bit young and naive, and maybe just like had your own stuff kind of coming up, especially things to do with like ego stories, feelings of not enoughness, feelings of like maybe lack or not being kind of where you wanted to be in life. At the time that you met, like a lot of insecurity kind of coming up from those sort of themes. It seems like, yeah, this person definitely didn't put their best foot forward with this King of Wands energy and Three of Wands energy in reverse. These are both heavy, kind of like being a real leader and visionary, but also being really kind of collaborative, like wanting to work as a team, and kind of wanting to go the distance with someone and being like really committed to that. But both these energies coming out in reverse is definitely indicating some like someone potentially who didn't step into that energy for whatever reason. And yeah, definitely today they've been regretting that. I'm sensing, I think they might know that they kind of needed to do their own thing and like learn some lessons with this Fool card coming out. Like they know they were too young and naive to even know how to do those things properly, and they needed to go through a real personal journey, a real transformation, and really understand themselves on a deeper level, and understand like maybe some of the kind of conditioning or patterns or ego stories, or anything like that that was essentially getting in their way, and maybe causing them to manifest from a place of self-fulfilling prophecy a little bit, especially with this Knight of Pentacles and Five of Pentacles energy. The Knight of Pentacles, like he's a really good manifester. He will also do the hard practical work though. Like he kind of gets to where he wants to go more through kind of setting goals and like manifesting through, I would say, more practical things like goal setting, which is a form of manifestation. But yeah, it seems like this person was maybe a little bit unaware of kind of their own stuff that was kind of dragging them down at the time. Like the Five of Pentacles is traditionally a sickness and poverty kind of energy. And it's like, when it comes out in reverse, it's usually more so that energy, and it's really a card that asks us to heal through taking action, but also like seeking help so that the action's really intentional. It's definitely like taking action in very physical ways too. So like some of the other Pentacles cards includes more, say, like either therapy or talk therapy or anything like that. Like this is more like energy about stagnation and stubbornness, because it's a Mercury and Taurus energy. And so this is like more just taking like any action at all. Maybe this person like didn't take action that they really should have, like even if it wasn't kind of like work action, like seeking healing or therapy or spiritual kind of progress. Like they know that kind of what they needed to do was just like make a move, like any move, like any practical like step could have been better than what they did. But yeah, I would say this person just like essentially didn't make moves, didn't put in the work, wasn't potentially patient enough with the process, especially probably wasn't patient enough with their own feelings of unworthiness, lack, not enoughness. That was definitely tripping them up a lot, I'm sensing. Because yeah, it probably both, or at least them especially, really didn't feel like they were where they wanted to be in life, for sure, with the Seven of Pentacles coming out in reverse. 7 right way up is often about money and success traditionally. 7s in general are heavy kind of victory cards. It's all about kind of having the strength and determination and concentration to kind of do what you got to do to eventually like come into whatever success it is that you've kind of got your mind on. It's a Saturn in Taurus energy, and so Taurus is a fixed sign. So when it's right way up, it's essentially about just like diligently doing the work, but when it's in reverse, it's more of a potentially like being stuck, diligently going down a path that's not serving you, and not necessarily like reflecting on how it's not serving you and setting a new course. The 7 in reverse really asks us to have the courage to face what's not working, and set a new course based on our own inner sense of like alignment, inspiration, and not just doing that Taurus thing of like, I've kind of mentally committed to this and I'm just going to go down this path. So potentially this might have to do with like careers, or just like lifestyle. It might also be to do with family. Like Pentacles does have a lot of kind of family values in the suit. So could be anything to do with that. I do think the Pentacle sign is also fairly kind of spiritual, grounded. Like it's probably one of the most healing kinds of energies. So any of those, this person was like not on the right course with. And like it was probably coming from a bit of, so this 6 of Wands, this is a Jupiter and Leo energy. So a lot of the time, this can indicate, like Leo definitely deals with a lot of themes of pride and ego. It's sun energy. So there's this kind of like spirit and light and like going where your spirit is called, and being creative and playful. But then there's also this element of like pride, ego, and sometimes like a little bit of narcissism in some way, or just like a little bit of excessive self focus or grandiosity or anything like that. So potentially like this person was struggling with some of those energies. Like they were either not willing to be confident in themselves, or maybe they had this like very kind of external illusion of confidence, but underneath that was like maybe some more kind of insecurity, that kind of performance was almost kind of covering up for them, especially with this Five of Swords in reverse. This is a Venus in Aquarius energy, and this is really about toxicity, and when in reverse, it's really asking us to cut our losses, move on, walk away from toxicity, and that could be like a physical situation or the toxicity within. The Five of Swords traditionally deals with issues of loneliness and solitude, and it's just like how we feel lonely and isolated. You can see from the artwork that this person's kind of like falling on their own sword, so to speak. And so often it's kind of talking about like loneliness from a place of where our own ego creates separation from ourselves and other people in some way, like thinking that we're either better or worse, or just like unnecessarily disconnected from others in some way. Usually that's like a more of a trauma pattern. It's not like true, but it feels true, like it's true for the person's reality. So yeah, I would say like this person was just like dealing with a lot. This could be like all messages for them, or it could be messages but like that was potentially split between the two of you. Like one of you could have had some of these energies and the other person could have had others. And yeah, so just like overall I'm sensing this person knows it wasn't the right time. They've definitely learned a lot though, like based on the way all these cards came out. And yeah, today they've definitely been thinking about like kind of all those underlying causes that kind of stop them from necessarily pursuing this connection to its full kind of power and intention. They potentially like, I would say maybe either backed away or just like didn't make enough moves to kind of solidify this connection. And I don't think at the time they knew why. But yeah, since this connection's ended, a lot of it's coming to light. And for some people, they may be able to articulate all of this kind of feeling of lack and maybe stagnation and not making moves and things like that. For some people, this is kind of more an integrated understanding. Like they might not be able to explicitly say it, but this is kind of what's going on in their deeper psyche. And so this is kind of like the underlying theme of what they're thinking. Like they're coming from a place of more like, I understand why things didn't work and why I wasn't in the place that I needed to be in to make it work. I would say overall though, I am getting a bit of a theme of like maybe being a little bit hard on themselves for not knowing what they didn't know. Like you can't know what you don't know with this full energy in reverse. But yeah, I am sensing that they probably are being a little bit hard on themselves with that. And like maybe some of them, like rightly so, can be hard on themselves, but yeah, probably they're taking it a little bit too far. But let's see what else we have for you. So we have reminiscing, keepsake, perception, learning from the past, making memories. I feel like that's literally everything that we've just talked about. Like they've been reminiscing on this connection a lot, and definitely learning from the past. And probably as well as like kind of all this harsh kind of energy, they've definitely been kind of reminiscing on the good memories with you as well. But yeah, I think this not enough energy within them is definitely making itself really apparent to them. Particularly today, but just as kind of a theme, maybe in this kind of recent Mercury retrograde and moving forward. Definitely where they've lacked confidence and self-sabotage and had fear, ego issues come up, which is kind of what we're talking about a lot with this Nine of Pentacles in reverse, as well as the Six of Wands. Yeah, it seems like there's definitely been this element of not enoughness on this person's end. Yeah, they've probably been feeling the heartbreak today a lot. Definitely deeply hurt, sad, disappointed about the separation, grieving, mourning the connection. I think they've also been imagining this potential future with the two of you, especially with all this like unfinished business energy, where the two of you do get to this place of like happiness, expansion, joy, like where you can actually share like all the learning that you've had like as individuals with each other, and able to be together again and enjoy each other maybe in new ways as well as the old ways. Yeah, this person's probably been reflecting on their personal growth, and they probably have seen you growing too, like from a distance. Yeah, I think they're trying to be patient. Like, I think for them, there's this kind of confliction between them maybe not making moves, definitely I would say from this not enough place, but then also having a lot of patience with themselves as they kind of work out all the stuff that's kind of underneath that resistance to making moves, and trying to address kind of the cause, not the symptom. Because yeah, for them, definitely not making moves is more of a symptom, but a lot of this kind of stuff that has to do with this inner child healing is the underlying cause. Okay, so we have blossoming gratitude. So this person probably on a personal level is like really like kind of coming into their own, and they're probably really also super grateful for the experiences they had with you, because it definitely shaped this growth and potential for this person. But no, Spirit is telling you that luck is on your side. The energy potentially of this reunion, or just this resolution, if reunion isn't what you're manifesting, is gaining momentum. And whatever it is that you're intending to happen, just like really hold on to your vision with that, but also be prepared to make some releases, especially if there's anything that you're holding on to from a place of like maybe either this similar not enough heartbroken energy, or fear, or kind of ego, or anything like that. Like really looking for opportunities to release at the moment. Can we also have a affirmation for pile 1, please? So we have, I radiate love and my heart is open to receiving the love that I deserve. I feel like that's super cute, especially kind of given that there was some Leo-ish stuff coming up, definitely some heart stuff, some sun stuff. So yeah, I think that's a really cute message to take away. But I think I'm going to leave that there. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. My private bookings are currently open, so you can make a request for a reading. I think, booked a month in advance now, and I did originally expand the number of readings that I was going to be doing in the next month, but yeah, I am going to start limiting it back down again in March. So just be like super mindful of that with the booking process. Like you might be waiting a little bit, but I would really love to read for you personally. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like I often go super overtime with readings, especially if yeah, like there's something Spirit is aligning you with me for. Like yeah, I do find that Spirit tends to align me with people very intentionally at very intentional times to give them messages. So if there is more messages given the topic than like kind of what I budgeted for in terms of time, like I do definitely go over. I would never want to kind of stop channeling for someone. So yeah, I do try and get everything out that kind of needs to get out. So yeah, that's always there as an option for you if you would like. If you love my readings, this really resonated, and you want to support me, you can donate. If you maybe don't want to get a personal reading, don't feel like you need a personal reading, or you yeah, just like want to do some of that like energy karma, like you can absolutely send me a donation. I'll make sure my donation link is in my description box, as well as my like book a reading link. So yeah, that's all the things I kind of need to say. So I'm gonna leave that here. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I would love if you could like, comment, and subscribe. And wherever I'm seeing you next, whether that's in a private reading or back on this channel, or maybe on TikTok, or wherever that is, I will see you there then. Hey there, part 2. Welcome to your reading about who's been thinking about you and potentially what they've been thinking about you, as well as maybe any underlying feelings behind that as well. We'll see what comes up. So if you chose this beautiful ice quartz crystal, I think, sorry, I'm so puffed. I just like took a mini break to go play with my cats and dog for a minute between readings, to kind of like get rid of old energy from the last reading, and yeah, really started new. But then I came in ready to film and I'm a little bit out of breath, more so than I normally am. I do get out of breath very easy because usually the messages come through like so fast, faster than I'm kind of used to talking, because I really don't talk much in my day-to-day life. I'm pretty much quiet other than very intentional speaking. So I'll try and catch my breath a little bit while we shuffle. But we're just going to start with getting some clarification on who's been thinking about you. So if you don't need to clarify the energies, or you're only kind of here getting intentional messages about a specific person, you can skip ahead if you would like. You can stay if you want like extra confirmation or whatever. But yeah, if you're maybe seeing if you need to be open to maybe more than one person coming through for this reading, and or like you just want that confirmation or anything like that, stick around and we will clarify the energies of this person who's been thinking about you today. Who's been thinking about pile 2 today, please? Pile 2, the messages about who's been thinking about you today are mostly coming from fire signs, probably with this Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius cards coming out. This could be any placement, especially Sun, Moon, and Rising, but any of their kind of major placements, that can be their energy, especially if they're dominant in kind of outer planets, which is not uncommon. Otherwise, this energy might be a Cancer energy, and or have Cancer placements, or could have air placements. So we've got Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini energy also coming into the mix. So we have a fair few signs here. It is important to note that our Sun, Mercury, and Venus are usually within like 1 or 2 signs of each other. So having Leo and Cancer come out together is like really unsurprising, as well as Libra and Gemini, because Libra and Gemini are also so close to Aries, Leo and Cancer, and then Aquarius is very close to both Aries and Sagittarius. So yeah, like this could be kind of like where their Sun, Venus, and Mercury placements are in their chart for sure. This person, regardless of that though, is probably fairly intelligent, probably a good communicator. This person might be like really fun, playful, maybe even a little bit childish at times. They probably like enjoy the spotlight and or just like enjoy like kind of having a good time and being around people that they love. They might be very heart-led, which is this Leo energy. We also have some kind of very motivated entrepreneurial kind of emperor energy with this Aries energy. And we also have a bit of a traveler, philosopher, maybe someone who's interested in like higher education or just like deeper learning about life. The Cancer energy is more of a maternal energy, which could be this person for sure, but we also have the 4th house energy come out, which Cancer rules the 4th house. So this potentially could indicate maybe some childhood wounding that's occurred, because this is essentially the energy that occurs in Cancer and the 4th house. Especially mummy issues, but kind of any familial wounding or generational kind of wounding being passed down. Yeah, there's a fair bit of inner child energy here with these 3 cards. So yeah, they might have a very kind of vibrant and alive inner child, but then also maybe there's an inner child shadow somewhere kind of locked away as well. Yeah, that's all that's kind of coming through in terms of these energies. And so if you're like satisfied with that, you are more than welcome to skip ahead to the tarot where we'll get more into the messages. But if you want a little bit more about the energy clarification, we'll use our little jar of magic to find out some more details about this person. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If there's additional kind of people that are popping into mind, like that's so fine, that's normal. Like to get, like a lot of people often think similar things about us. Like everyone has their own unique spin, but yeah, like don't be surprised if multiple people are thinking similar things about you. Can't remember what other disclaimers I needed to tell you, so we're just going to get into it. Can we please have any additional little notes that you want to reveal to pile 2 about this person, please? So we have short hair. They might be on the paler side. This is like relevant though, like if you normally date people who are more melanated, I could say, then maybe it's just like pale compared to them. Like just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Agreeable. This person probably likes to see everyone get along. Medium hair length. So if it's not short, it's medium, or it might be somewhere between the 2. Athletic body. This is heavy, like kind of Aries energy. Aries rules the body. Olive skin. Okay, so we've definitely got a mix of people here. Storyteller. I feel like all of the fire signs are good storytellers. Tattoos. Now, show me a Leo that doesn't have a Leo tattoo on them, like for real. Bit neurotic. Kind. Thoughtful. Bit of a mentor. I feel like that's that Sagittarius energy. Brave. More Leo energy. Sexy. Now this could be any of the signs here because they're all sexy in there. Oh no! Our sexiness is in the candle wax. If that feels relevant, I feel like for some of y'all that meant something else. Yeah, gray eyes. This might be like a bluish gray. Fun, yeah, more Leo energy. And sculpted, that's supposed to say eyebrows. So yeah, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If there's more than one person coming to mind, you're probably getting messages from more than one person. If you felt like you resonated with even like half of those, just be like super mindful to like maybe go back to the freeze frame and just like see if you're being drawn to an additional pile. Sometimes our messages are a bit of a mix of two different piles. So yeah, you might find that like half your messages are here and half are there. Sometimes that means, but yeah, we'll get onto our more specific messages about what they're thinking today. What do we have for pile 2 in regards to what that person's thinking of them today? Can we? Okay. First of all, this person's been thinking about putting a ring on it today. We've got the Four of Pentacles and Justice card. The Justice card is heavy Libra energy. So Libra rules things like marriages, contracts, kind of like all the legally binding energies, as well as like long-term romantic partnerships, because she's ruled by Venus. And then we have the Four of Pentacles, which is a heavy kind of security, stability kind of energy. Traditionally, the Pentacle suit is usually about things that are very physical, things that are very concrete, things like your lifestyle, your family values, and anything really physical. You're getting to a very physical manifestation when you get up to the Pentacle suit. So yeah, this person's definitely focusing on, or just like mulling on like potentially being married to you, or being in a very serious long-term commitment, maybe with some sort of like contracts or just like something very official. So regardless of whether it's like a proper kind of like marriage scenario, or if it's just like some sort of like agreement of some kind so that you can coexist potentially for a long-term partnership. Yeah, this person's been thinking about that today. We have Nine of Pentacles energy, which again, it's basically kind of the culmination of all this Pentacles stuff. Like it's really thinking about family, lifestyle, values. Definitely it has a bit of a healing energy to it as well. This is a Virgo Venus energy, or Venus in Virgo energy, I should say. And it's really an energy about kind of feeling like you deserve the best in life, pampering yourself, especially the physical body, but just like being cared for properly in kind of like all realms, including especially retail therapy, but just like any kind of care, whether that's just like kind of talk therapy or like self-care, or just like especially any like kind of daily rituals of self-care. This is all a Nine of Pentacles energy. So it does seem like this person's potentially thinking about this very practical, physical life that the two of you may have together. The Sun as well is a heavy abundance and fertility kind of energy. It seems like with the Sun and Wands both coming out, the Sun rules Leo, and then the King of Wands is really kind of the king of all the fire signs, as kind of like peak fire sign energy. I would say with all this heavy fire sign energy coming out and the King of Wands coming out in reverse, is that maybe this person's like really thinking about maybe the shadow side of some of this really beautiful fire energy. Like all energies have kind of a light side and a dark side. And similarly, the Sun represents kind of our light and our spirit, but also that ego and that shadow. So yeah, I would really say that this person's contemplating on kind of maybe their shortcomings, which for fire signs, that is rare. Like, they don't often think about their shortcomings. They just assume everyone else has their shortcomings and they're perfect. Like they have Scott Disick energy for sure. So yeah, this person's actually kind of getting real about that stuff today, especially with this Two of Swords energy. The Two of Swords, this is a moon in Libra energy. So again, Libra rules like partnerships and romantic relationships and usually long-term kind of commitments to people. And it's also like the great balancer of relationship. Like Libra really wants everything to be fair and just. And moon energy is very deep, very soulful, very caring. It's usually our deep emotional world. And so this Two of Swords energy is really about usually seeing two sides of the story, and really understanding a different person's perspective, and kind of seeing how no one's really like all good or all bad. Like people have their light side, their shadow side. There's a lot of kind of gray in the world, and you have to be able to see things from both kind of extreme points of view, but also be able to carry that in a very integrated perspective, ultimately, to kind of see the reality of life. So yeah, it seems like this person's kind of getting real about that shadow side of themselves, to kind of really get real about this relationship and how they're perceiving this relationship, and perceiving it kind of with integrity, I would say, and like with some truth and some honesty, and almost some realism as well. The Libra moon really asks our mind to calm our emotions, and be kind of a bit more objective with situations, and or at least having our heart and mind really aligned, like being able to come to that heart-mind alignment. It doesn't really like indecision. It doesn't like imbalance, this card. It definitely doesn't like unnecessary stress either, or things that drain your energy, especially if one person's being drained more than the other person. If there's going to be a draining of any energy, it needs to be equal. It needs to be just. It needs to be balanced. That's that Libra energy coming out. So yeah, this person's definitely been contemplating a lot of this sort of stuff in relation to you guys physically having a life together. They're kind of like essentially like thinking of all the practicalities of things, which is nice, because yeah, like all this kind of like inspired kind of passion, romance, and kind of like more creative action or moves, or you know, whatever, is nice. But yeah, there needs to be some practicality to it. So it definitely seems like this person's really kind of understanding that a little bit more today. This Eight of Swords is a traditionally more of an isolated kind of energy, or potentially an energy of like kind of feeling stuck within the self in some way. It's a Jupiter and Gemini energy. And this card as well does ask us to liberate the mind, and allowing other points of view without judgment. So in a way, like these two energies are very similar. Gemini is coming from more of a mutable modality, like kind of a bit more flexibility, whereas Libra energy is a bit more cardinal. It's a bit more generative. It's kind of like instead of this, like this Gemini energy is kind of more shifting your perspective, like being flexible with your perspective, whereas this Libra energy is actually kind of really going out of your way to kind of see things from the other person's point of view. So like definitely more of a cardinal energy, like really putting yourself in a weird situation that you don't really understand to try and understand it better. And the Devil card has a lot to do with experience and knowledge. So potentially this person's trying to figure out how their own kind of experience of life has made them see life a certain way, and how they can kind of pivot on that experience to kind of be able to see things differently. Another interpretation of these cards though, is potentially a little bit of kinkiness here. Like the Devil card, it is a Capricornish energy, but there's this kind of hedonistic desire element to it, and this might be sexual. It might just be more like wanting to enjoy the pleasures of life, and everything that life has to offer. So your person might be trying to broaden their horizons with that sort of stuff. Otherwise they are thinking about either restraining you or being restrained in some way in the sexy time that we spoke about earlier. Yeah. especially like wax play might be a part of that restraining energy. But yeah, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's totally up to you. I think we will get some love oracles. Okay, yeah. What was I saying? This person's imagining this engagement, partnership, commitment, eternity, completion, union. Yeah, this person wants to make some really like good, healthy choices with you. They want to be happy. They want to engage in a lot of self-care, self-love, and just like enjoy love, enjoy life. This one's like, this is nice. Okay, so maybe some of the reason why things haven't taken off so far with this person is some heartbreaks from the past. Like this could be a past connection, and or it could just be a connection with someone with some wounding, who's maybe coming from this like wounded inner child place a little bit, who's maybe had some of that aggravated in a past connection, either with you or with someone else, and is like trying to learn how to heal that. We do have some healing energy in this Knight of Pentacles energy. So yeah, I would say this person, yeah, is just kind of getting it together almost. So we have coffee cup, which is meeting, conversing, feeling uplifted, friendship, and then we have self-indulgence, focusing on the self-worth, time to heal, shadow work, and self-appreciation. So this is potentially kind of very telling of kind of the current energy, kind of the reality essentially of this shadow that we're talking about, kind of where they're at. But yeah, I would say today they're kind of really focusing on kind of like best possible outcome, the really broad kind of future big picture energy. Like I would say they're not really getting bogged down by their past and like all this kind of healing stuff that they want to be doing. And I think that's nice because it doesn't necessarily mean they'll kind of wait to be healed to come in. Like they're probably just going to come in when they feel like they've got a handle on kind of all this good stuff that they want to build, but also all the shadow stuff that they'll be bringing into this relationship as well. So it can be just really conscious in this connection. So we have creation, resilience, and power. I feel like these are all very fire sign energies. So yeah, I would say this is kind of the energy that they're bringing into this current situation with you. This is probably their strengths, I would say. Like I would say their resilience, their power, and their creative energy is really their strength, and that's seems to be what they're focusing on in terms of this really positive energy that they're really focusing on. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're super focused on kind of the shadow. They're like coming to terms with it, but they're not kind of being bogged down by it. Yeah, they're just like in this space of like kind of meditating and contemplating like their life, just like learning a lot, probably embracing some of this Sagittarian energy of kind of like spiritual development. It's important that neither of you let pride get in your way at this point. There's probably some very sensitive things going on both ends. And so pride can, when people are sensitive, especially if there's a lot of Leo energy in either of your placements, things can get out of hand quickly. So just like that's something to be mindful of. But your affirmation is, I see all circumstances as a gift that allow me to grow. So yeah, whatever's going on right now, looking for the gifts in your current circumstances, the growth in your current circumstances. But yeah, I feel like that's all I really have to say, and I'm going to leave it here. My bookings for personal readings are open. I think I'm booked about a month in advance. So if you leave me a reading request, hopefully I'll be able to get to it in about March. I did open up some extra readings in Feb, but I'm going to go back to my normal kind of space number in March. So yeah, it may take a little while, but I would really love to read for you. I have so much fun reading for people. It's always very interesting, the timing that people are aligned for readings with me. And usually it's very interesting kind of what comes out. I do usually go overtime for that reason. So I don't expect a longer reading, but I do 40 minutes minimum of both kind of like a bit of an astrology kind of base, as well as a full tarot reading, like the one we did today, but probably a little bit longer and a bit more detailed. And yeah, so the link for that's in my bio, in my description. What else do I need to tell you about that? But yeah, if that doesn't feel like aligned to you right now, or you feel like you're getting enough out of collective readings right now, you can always leave me a donation. I'll make sure the donation link is in my description as well. If you want to add a little bit of extra karmic energy to our reading today, like good karma energy, good money karma energy, or just like abundance energy. I do my little runes, which is like love and harmony and peace out and abundance in. Like that's kind of the vibe of like most of my readings. Like that's the thing that I have a lot of excess of that I want to put out into the world. And what I would like to trade that energy for is very much abundance, prosperity, that kind of like Venus receptive Taurus kind of energy. I am a Taurus moon. What else was I going to say? Yeah, you can always catch me on TikTok as well. And I have lots of personal socials that you can check out if you would like to. That's usually where I post more personal stuff. Like I don't share a lot of personal details on here. So we do keep it kind of to the tarot a little bit. But yeah, I feel like that's about all. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. It's been a pleasure reading for you. And until I see you again for personal readings on TikTok, on my next YouTube video, or whatever it is, yeah, ciao. See you then. Hi Pile 3, welcome to your reading for what your person or who's thinking about you. First of all, we will clarify the energies, especially if you're like maybe open to getting readings from different people or multiple people, and then we will clarify what they've been thinking and maybe what they've been feeling depending on kind of what cards come out. So yeah, if you chose this pink agate crystal, then this reading is probably for you. We will start with clarifying the energies of this person or these people. So yeah, skip ahead if you don't want to see that. You can go straight to the tarot portion of this reading. But for anyone who wants the energies clarified, stick around. These are all like really popping out. Okay, this is interesting. So the main energies here, obviously Taurus, a little bit of Sagittarius energy, a little bit of Pisces, and some Capricorn energy. This will be particularly for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, but any of your major placements, especially placements that are really dominant in your chart, or in their chart, I should say, or especially closer to the personal planets, will be relevant. But regardless of their astrology, they are probably a very optimistic person. They might care about like travel, higher learning, higher knowledge, spiritual development, personal development, and kind of being the best version of themselves. They might be quite lucky as well. And they may have really nice hips and thighs with this Jupiter energy coming out. This person might be quite vocal and or like choking in freaky time because of this Taurus energy coming out, which rules the throat chakra. This Taurus energy is heavy second house energy. So this is people who really have like good morals and values, and usually people who are a bit more financially secure, people who are really into aesthetics, self-care, and yeah, there's a lot of kind of abundant energy here, especially because we've also got the 10th house of the world, which rules career. So basically like all of the major kind of money energies are coming out. 10th house energy is Capricorn energy. It's all about like life purpose. It's a more paternal kind of energy, and it has a lot to do with public image. So this person might have like they might be recognized in the public in some way, like they might be from a town where people tend to know them or know their family, or they might be recognized in their career. They might have a career that's maybe a bit more public, or they're just like kind of revered in their career in some way. We've also got this 12th house energy though, so this has a lot to do with Pisces energy. It's very spiritual. It's traditionally ruled by Jupiter, but modernly ruled by Neptune. So Neptune's very dreamy, and can sometimes pull us into illusion. Neptune and 12th house energy kind of contains any kind of collective conditioning that we're subject to in life. It's also the house where we go to escape our troubles. So usually a lot of our coping strategies are here as well. So this person might have some maybe obvious coping strategies. Like I'm hearing potentially a little bit of alcoholism, to be honest. Maybe a little bit of they kind of spend money to make themselves feel better as well, like a bit of retail therapy. They might also have a thing for feet or have really nice feet with this Pisces energy. And what's interesting is we had both the lunar eclipse and solar eclipse cards come out. So when it's a full moon, we get a lunar eclipse. When it's the other way around. When it's a full moon, I was right the first time. When it's a full moon, we get lunar eclipses. When it's a new moon, we get solar eclipses. Usually lunar eclipses where things kind of get destroyed to change, whereas solar eclipses are more when things are like building up into what is being changed. So yeah, there seems to be kind of like some destruction and renewal energy here overall. So this might be someone that you've encountered before, either in a past life or this one. Like you guys probably have some sort of history somewhere along the line, and or like this person's just been through a lot, been through a big change, potentially like cut off some of their old ways or old people or something. Like there's been some sort of cutting off of something to build something else. But for anyone who wants a little bit more clarification of energies, especially if there's more than one person coming to mind, or you just want some extra confirmation, we'll pick out some of our little personality and appearance tickets. Keep in mind that if you're resonating with about half of these, like your reading might be a combination of more than one reading, so you can always go back to the freeze frame to see if you're being called to another reading. But yeah, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you're resonating with most of them, you'll know you're in the right place. Obviously you can skip this if you like. Just like you do you, essentially, is the vibe. So we have dark skin, bookworm, disciplined. Yeah, this is this heavy 12th house Taurus. Jupiter energy. This person's like gonna go the distance. Dark brown eyes. crooked nose, or just like a nose that you wouldn't immediately think, oh yeah, the nose is super straight, just like got leader energy. I feel like this is definitely Capricornish 10th house energy. Might have a very prominent Cupid's bow, or they might have a like very significant lack of a Cupid's bow, just like there's some sort of attention there that gets drawn there. That's supposed to say sculpted eyebrows. Witty. White blonde hair. This might be dyed, or they might have had it dyed at some point in their life. Open, that's that Sagittarius energy. Kind. I feel like all earth signs like don't seem that kind, but they are. Energetic. Again, more Jupiter energy. May have some freckles or sunspots. Fairly tall. Dreamer. This 12th house Neptunian kind of energy. And determined. I feel like Taurus, Capricorn, they are so determined. So yeah, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If most of those resonated, you are definitely in the right place. If half-ish resonated, then you might just need to double check and make sure there's no other pile that you're being potentially drawn to for additional messages. But we'll get more, okay, get more about what this person has been thinking today. Maybe any feelings or anything. What do you want us to know, Spirit, about what this person's potentially been thinking today? Whoop. So today this person's definitely been thinking about how they can show up as best as possible in this connection. Definitely in a lot of this kind of very divine masculine emperor energy for the majority of people here. Potentially in the past, they might have brought in a little bit of player energy. If you guys do have history based on this solar and lunar eclipse energy, I'm assuming most of you do, if not in this life, in past lives. Yeah, they might have been a bit of a player in the past, or maybe just like weren't really the best at committing. Like they might have come in with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, maybe a lot of sexual expression, but maybe kind of couldn't lock it down, or like kind of come to the cuffing situation. And they might not have been able to embrace the more romantic, maybe intuitive, kind of more softer passion side. Like they might have come in really hot with the kind of very sexy, forward, assertive, masculine, kind of more player energy, but maybe they couldn't do that opposite side well, of that really kind of sensual, can take things slow, can be really romantic, can be really like thoughtful about kind of like what they're doing, and like kind of delivering in a way that feels good for you. Like maybe kind of like how you like to be romanced wasn't necessarily the energy they were bringing in. But yeah, I would say it's probably a past connection with this Page of Cups coming out in reverse. The page often represents new love, lots of synchronicity. It's a very kind of start of love energy, but coming out in reverse, I'm sensing that you've encountered this person before in some capacity. And yeah, it's likely that this person is a very either divine counterpart energy, but at the very least probably a bit of a mirror for you. Like they potentially taught you a lot of lessons and or helped you with your personal spiritual development. And thus far, a lot of the things that have kind of gone wrong between the two of you has felt very intentional. Like there does seem to be kind of very positive, maybe even karmic lessons that have come out of the whole process. So while it might have been hard on both or either end, yeah, there is this kind of like sense of like kind of gratitude for the lessons and just like things playing out the way that it should. There may be some uncertainty in this connection, like right now though, with this Hanged One coming out in reverse. This is heavy Neptunian energy. So this uncertainty is probably to do with this 12th house of escape energy. Like there's probably some collective conditioning or some kind of coping mechanisms that are kind of interrupting the flow of this connection in some way. Or things just like not going to expectation. Like potentially this person's expectations are really around being a really good provider with the Six of Pentacles. This is traditionally a giving and generosity card, and they might have some expectations around being this real player energy too. But yeah, this is potentially like a lot of it's coming from this 12th house energy of like kind of how we're conditioned to show up in our divine masculine energy. So yeah, it's likely that this person's like starting to understand that a bit more, starting to unpack it and figuring out how to kind of tap into the more feminine cups energy and be able to move more from a place of either like authenticity or just like more kind of feminine integration, more romance, more like really seeing the feminine, really understanding the feminine, really like responding to her needs, and not like this expectation that this person has about what the feminine should want and need, and more listening to what she actually does want and need. This Eight of Cups energy, this is a Mercury and Sagittarius energy. Mercury is in fall in Sagittarius. It doesn't really like being there. So this energy tends to slow us down and kind of get us to like really figure out what our truth is, help us to really express our truth, but it's all through this process of kind of really taking it easy, which I would not say is Sagittarius's necessarily strong point. But the thing is, Sagittarius is very wise. There's a lot of kind of spiritually evolved energy there. So when Sagittarius does slow down and take things a bit easier and matures a lot, it's very good at kind of figuring out deeper truths of a situation and kind of really expanding their mind, expanding their perspective, and expanding their kind of essential spiritual approach to life. We do also have the 10 of Wands in reverse. This is traditionally about burden and responsibility. This is another Sagittarius energy, but it's a Saturn in Sagittarius, so it's more of a karmic energy mixed with Sagittarius. And it's really about old patterns that... I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. It's really about old patterns coming up that you need to see, heal, and maybe either adopt a new attitude with it or just like really determinedly do the work so that you're executing a different behavior based on past triggers or past cues, because the old patterns are essentially burning you. They're not serving you. So yeah, I would say overall, this person's like mostly focused on how they can show up better, and mostly focused on actually responding to you rather than responding to what they think you should want and need. So yeah, it feels like a lot of kind of personal responsibility, to be honest, and actually a lot of integrity as well. Seems to be kind of what they're going through today. Okay, so they're potentially also contemplating like a long-term partnership or commitment, potentially engagement to you, and being in some sort of like forever union. Okay, they may not be revealing necessarily everything they're going through to you though, because they're trying to update all of their outdated thinking and conditioning, especially all this 12th house energy. And they're kind of replaying either their patterns to do with this over in their head if they haven't necessarily met you in this incarnation, or if they have, they're replaying kind of how this pattern of theirs played out in your connection to kind of like almost do a bit of a play-by-play assessment. There's definitely some healing and healing from toxicity and relationship and addiction going on, especially this 12th house of escape energy. Like definitely all that stuff we talked about earlier in terms of like potentially resorting to like kind of alcoholism and other coping strategies. They're figuring out how to do that from a healthier place and actually like deal with their issues a bit more and confront their issues, and like maybe adopting some coping strategies that are just a bit more like just are on a higher kind of vibration. Maybe they're like leaning into like either connection or nature or something that just feels like a better choice for self-soothing. And they're definitely ascending, like they're definitely experiencing this Sagittarius like evolution, spiritual development, transcending obstacles, learning, expansion, new phase, preparing for union. So yeah, this is like overall I would say very positive energy towards a union with you, or a reunion if you guys have met in this lifetime before. Yeah, there's probably like I'm feeling a bit of optimism today, but I'm sensing that this might be a little bit of a anomaly. Like they might tend to go to this place of darkness, especially because they're dealing with a lot of 12th house issues. Like darkness has probably been a bit of a reoccurring theme as they've been doing this healing. And I would say with this cassette energy coming out as well, like that can also bring out some of our own inner darkness. Like you're really confronting a lot of shadow here. And potentially the reason why none of these moves have been made yet is some sort of divine protection for the two of you, to either protect you from this kind of player energy of his, or just like protect this union from the void, from like sending you too far into the darkness to the point where you feel super cut off. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. There's definitely some darkness here that's being like healed and dealt with. But yeah, there's also a lot of optimism here too. So we have communication is key. So there's probably some communication either incoming or just going to be necessary before the two of you kind of get to take this to wherever it's going for your particular situation. So this might be, if you haven't met this person, this will be communication of old situations where this kind of dynamic played out, so that you can really show up with that kind of personal responsibility and like real self-awareness. And if you have been in connection with this person before, like this is going to be a much more personal conversation. It's potentially also going to be more triggering in that circumstance because it'll be just much more personal. It won't be with this hypothetical past person who triggered these things. But yeah, it's important that you bring love into the situation, especially if you're in that more like current life history situation, because yeah, this communication is important, but it's also probably going to be triggering. So you guys might need to figure out a strategy of how to have that conversation in a healthy way. Okay, so we have as an affirmation for you, I am fearless in the pursuit of what I desire. So yeah, I think especially just given all the darkness kind of that came out, there is definitely going to be this kind of need for a little bit more courage, a little bit more bravery at the moment, to face what is coming up for the both of you currently. But I am going to leave that here. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and or needed. It's been a pleasure reading for you. If you would like a personal reading, I have bookings open at the moment. I had a few extra bookings in February, but that's now filled up in March. I will be limiting my bookings again So yeah, if you would like a personal reading, you can make a request through the description in my bio. Like, I love reading for you guys. It's so fun. I often go pretty overtime. I just kind of keep going until like all the messages feel kind of done. So you will get like a little astrology kind of base of like what's going on for you, any patterns in your natal chart that are relevant to your question, and then like a full tarot reading that's usually a fair bit more detailed than this. And if you are getting a lot out of the collective readings, and or like you don't want a personal reading or anything like that, but you would like to exchange additional energy, and yeah, create a little bit of like energetic strengthening of the messages here today, you can leave me a donation. I leave my donation link in the description box below, so feel free, if you feel so called, to head there. But yeah, you can also catch me on socials and on TikTok, so yeah, the links for all that is in my description box as well. But yeah, I think that's all that I have to add. It's been a pleasure reading for you. Would love if you can like, comment and subscribe, and whether I see you here on a personal reading, on socials, whatever it is, thank you so much, and ciao.